Hi guys, this is your host Sid Patel, CEO of Beverage Trade Network. We are here in London shooting for Inside the Drinks business, and I'm here with Salvatore, who's won the Best Sommelier Award in Europe and Africa. Salvatore, thanks for having me here at your shop.
Thank you, Sid.
He's also an advisor of this chain, Fairwood Wines, and he consults and helps them with buying and also selling. So he's also on the floor, and we're going to talk about how we can bring value to other retail merchants and how you can grow your business. Thanks for having me here, Salvatore.
Thank you,
Why
Sid.
don't you give a little, quick rundown about your career and who you are and your journey, please?
Yes, of course. Well, I am. I came here 7 years ago. I've always been working in hospitality. So since I was 15 years old, I started to work in restaurants. And since 2 years ago, so I was still on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
I used to work for the Dorchester, for Alain Ducasse. I've been working for a restaurant called Mash in Piccadilly, and a lot of experience in Michelin star restaurant as well.
Nice.
In Italy, back in Italy, this really started in Italy when, especially the study for sommelier, I was really interested in wine.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to work for a company called Orient Express.
Okay.
Now it's Belmont.
The Belmont Wine Exchange?
Is owned by Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy.
Okay.
And I was very curious why every single bottle has a different price, and all these different vintages. What was the difference between them, and all these different styles, sweet wines, fortified.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how my journey started, really. So I started to study, and I took my diploma in Italy.
Mm-hmm.
And then I moved to London, where I really understood that I didn't do enough in Italy. So.
Yeah.
I started to study for the Court of Master Sommelier, and started to participate to a few competitions around UK, in Italy.
Nice.
And then the last one, my first one in my first international competition in Cyprus last November, where I won the Best Sommelier of Europe and Africa. Then 2 years ago, I moved. I wanted to understand the dark side of the business,
Okay.
which is so retail and off-trade, basically. And so because I wanted to have a more complete view of the wine business.
True.
So to understand, it was very easy for me to buy and sell wines when I was while I was in the restaurant.
Yeah.
Because you are in contact with many suppliers.
Yeah.
And you try to find the best price, but it's a very different things to buy from a producer and try to sell those wines into the restaurant.
Yeah.
To other sommelier.
Yeah.
Since now has been great.
And how long have you been in the retail side of business?
2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And before that, almost like 10, 12 years in the restaurant side?
Always in the restaurant. Yeah. So here we have a few of the Italian wines. Then we have some Austria, some Portugal. This is Bordeaux, which is our main sales. This is Burgundy. We've got a little selection of spirits as well, some Armagnac over there, and then some big formats over there. And this is our Champagne and Sauterne section. We have some Super Tuscan as well, some Vega Sicilia, and some ports.
Nice. On the retail side, right? You said you help them consult with few things, especially in the buying side. Mm-hmm. What do you look for in a supplier? Like there must be 3 to 4 things that they must hit, right?
Yes.
Before they get a placement.
Yes.
So what would that be?
So when you contact a winemaker, of course you ask for samples. The most important thing is the diversification of what you can sell. Okay. But of course the quality is the primary things, and the price as well. Yep. Because as you know, London is full of wine supplier, wine merchants. So you need to find the right price,
Yeah.
and of course the quality needs to be great. Otherwise, it's going to be really hard to sell wines. And Friarwood is a small company, so you need to show that we are focused on top quality and good prices. In fact,
and beyond quality and price, like, are there other questions or any things that you ask them? Like, how are you going to support me? What advertising will you do? What marketing will you do? What if it doesn't sell through? Are you going to come and do store tastings? What are the business other support programs?
So we do a lot of tasting with our clients.
Okay.
Once we add a new wine in the list, we do some tasting here in the shop, here in Parsons Green and in Wimbledon.
Okay.
Just to.
And that marketing support is given by suppliers?
No.
Okay. That comes from your pocket?
That's from from our side. Yeah. But yes, if we don't manage to sell a certain wine, we can do some certain offer or discount or
And is there any pitch that stands out? Like you think that this supplier nailed it? Do you remember anything where the supplier was super business oriented and did a perfect job in selling you?
I think what we are focused on is the customer service, which is something that not many suppliers are doing at the moment.
Okay.
So when you do a delivery on the same day, and when you do no minimum order, so you can even order one bottle.
Got it. I guess you prefer all those kind of things because of the high value investment in your inventory.
Yes. And it's easier for sommelier as well. They don't have to reach a minimum order, or they don't have to order a case.
Got it. Understood. What about driving sales, right? Like, especially if let's go back on your role for this store. Are there any metrics or KPIs or like targets that you have to achieve, which your boss must have given you, that you must hit this numbers?
Yes. Well, we have all the sales guys have a goal to achieve, of course, every month. It's of course our boss is not giving us too much pressure, because we are still a small company, and to be honest, we are doing really well at the moment. But of course, you need to reach those targets to keep going. Otherwise.
And what are they? Like, are you guys counting the number of customers coming in and the average price per customer? Like, what are the metrics, if you can walk me through? How are you measured in your performance?
Yeah. So, well, we are not like a restaurant that you do. You calculate the minimum spending for each customer. Of course, we have especially here and in Wimbledon, we have our regular guests, so we know them. We have their names, so we know already what they drink or what.
Understood.
So it's
like, hey John, how's it going? Here's your cab ready.
Exactly. Yeah. Not like that, but almost.
Yeah, I got it.
But yes, and basically it's more on the number of bottles that we sell, and more on the volume, and yes, it's the amount.
So is it like a weekly report or a daily report which gets generated?
We do a daily report.
Okay.
Yes.
And in that it shows the sales rep name as well?
Yes,
For
exactly.
example, who hand sold or took care of the customer?
Yes.
Perfect.
So this is our cellar. This is, of course, we don't have everything here. We have most of the wines in London City Bond. But this is our cellar in central London. So here we have the whites, the white section with some sparkling at the end. And then on the other side here we have the reds. So a few of the reds. We got some Italy, some Spain, Portugal, Burgundy at the end. Here we have some entry-level Bordeaux, and just behind you have the Caveau, which is our Bordeaux cellar. That's where we keep all our top Bordeaux. You can see some Chateau Pavie, Figeac, we have some Lynch-Bages, Chateau Nenin, some Souchon Malais, Montrose. It's like all the best of the best.
Who is a good sommelier to you?
So a good sommelier, I think it has to have an a good knowledge. I wouldn't say great, but at least a good knowledge. He has to have the passion for it, and he needs to explain and drive and make some interest in the customer mind.
Yep.
Just to to drive them and let them try some new special wine, unusual wines that they never drank before. It's very easy to sell Bordeaux or Super Tuscan or Chianti, but it's very hard to drink, to try to sell a very small appellation from anywhere around the world.
True.
Because nobody knows. So plus another thing, I think it's very important that the price wise in the wine list of, in London prices are quite crazy, because you go in central London and they make a massive GP out of it. So when instead, if you, for example, if you go in Italy or France, the GP on the wine list is very low.
Okay.
That's why.
Even in the restaurants?
Yes. Yes. So you can drink, for example, I was in Chablis a couple of years ago, and I drank a bottle of de Maravenon Blanchot 2010 for 50 euro. And here it's like 250 pounds at least.
Wow.
So yeah, it's they are very different reality. Of course, London is quite expensive as well.
What are the tips to, let's say, in a nice way, to greet a customer, to guide them through the store, and then to close the sale? To close the gap. Like, okay, I think let's go for this wine.
Well, the store. Well, I'm not based on the store, but I think
overall,
a couple of times I've been here when customer came in, and I managed to sell a few nice bottles. But for me, it's quite easy, because it's like being in the restaurant, and you talk with them and you ask them a few questions regarding what wines they like, how much they want to spend, and when they tell you a few things, you understand where they want to go.
Got it.
So
let's say, I just want to give this for the people listening. So first question would be hello, and then do you have anything in mind that you're looking for? I guess.
Yes.
And then you would ask, is there a price range you're looking for?
And then I usually ask, I don't know, for example, if it's a red wine, I'll ask them, would you like something a bit more spicy, lighter, some full body wine, something more on the fruit side. So just to give me an idea what they like. Okay. And then definitely you tell them, do you have a price range or something? Sometimes they come in, they tell you, hey, do you have Bordeaux? So you know already what they want. But still, you ask them, would you like something a bit more elegant or something a bit more.
And how do you read the customer? Let's say you're talking to me and you showed me this 198 pound bottle, and then I'm like, that it's expensive for me, for example. So is there a way you read a customer that instantly I think he's getting little I think it's over budget, so let me just go little.
Yeah, of course. When you work in hospitality for so long, you can understand. I remember from when they were walking in, I knew already what to sell to those people.
Got it. What about the customer who just says, hey, I have no idea, I'm just going at my friend's place, what would you recommend in 50 pounds? So how do you approach that sort of customer?
Again, you still
ask
as many questions as possible, just to make them happy at the end, because once they open the bottle, you are not there. So,
What kind of questions would that be if it's for someone else?
You can ask them, does your friend have any special requirement, or any special taste, any special one that he likes? Okay. I don't know, what are you going to have? Is a barbecue, or are you having
occasion you can ask you. That's true. On the upselling, right, Salvatore, so let's say I got this $40 wine, 40 pounds wine, and then do you guys, I understand it depends on store to store, maybe you don't have the DNA of going hard on sales, but just overall, what are some good tips to upsell? Someone's already shopped 40, and do you like say, okay, here's another $30-40 wine, I think which will be good? Are there any ways to upsell?
Yes, you can always. If they spend 40, they can spend even 50 or 60, right? So you can it's like at the restaurant again. If someone was asking me for a bottle of 200, if you have the money to
Correct.
for 200, you can go to 250, 300, right?
And how would you go about that?
So you always make them curious.
Okay.
So telling them, oh, you know, I have something different that you may love. It's one of my favorite wine. You always need to use the right words, of course,
true.
right, to catch their attention. So yeah, usually you say, oh, that's my favorite. You will love this wine. Well, you don't say if you don't like, you can give it back.
But for the confidence, you may have to say it, right? If you really believe in that, that they'll like it.
And many of our clients, because they are returning guests and they live here, you know, they really love us to give them some proposition or to suggest something.
Got it. On the inventory side, right? There are always slow-moving products. How do you guys approach that, and what do you do to move them out?
So to move them out, you can suggest, well, in the shop we can definitely do some discount or some events so that we can you know, show the wines and people at the end of the events, they may buy some of those bottles, so it's easier to sell. Or otherwise, if we are talking to restaurants, we can definitely ask them if they can put it by the glass, and we'll give them a special price. Yeah, something like this.
Understood. You know, for hiring a good candidate for a retail store, especially like yours, you know, what are some characteristics that you would look for when you be interviewing, let's say, for, you know, someone to walk the floor and sell?
Well, I think the smile is very important, because when someone comes from the door, you know, you need to see someone
you
smiling.
need a happy person,
yes,
first of all.
Course. It's the business card of the business, right?
True.
Of course, that's very important. It has to have a bit of experience, of course, in retail or. In my opinion, people who have been working on the floor in restaurants are more suitable as well for this job, because they know how to sell.
True.
So yeah, this kind of experience help, of course.
Got it. Have you noticed any science behind positioning the wines? Like, is there a reason why 155 is here, 40, 30? Like, I can see a big difference. Like, this is eye level, and you've kept it a very medium, low to medium price range here. So is there any reason why this is placed the way it is? No,
not really.
Okay.
Just,
interesting.
Yeah, Magnum are up usually with the half bottles, and then and then all the 75 CL.
Got it. What are the 3 to 4 elements that you think people should really do to drive top line sales if you are a retail merchant? You know, any tips for them?
Well, as I said, you need to get them curious about some products, and you always need to use the right words to drive the sales, and always smile. And I can tell you that if you gain their trust, every time they come in, they will definitely ask you for suggestions. So,
you know, I've noticed some traditional retailers, which are like immigrants, for example, you know, they go with the old approach with knowing the name first, and then literally, hey Salvatore, how you doing? You know, and then you feel home, right? That it's your store because you already know the name and the person. Are there any other actual practical like tips which you would say? Like, I think personally knowing the name of the customer is a big win.
Oh yes.
Right? So something like that where you know that, oh, how was your lunch with Katie you went with? You know what I mean? Like those kind of things. Have you seen something like that which really enhances the customer experience, which obviously drives sales?
Oh yeah, this happens here every time. So we have Patrice, which is one of our oldest employees here, has been here forever, for 20 years.
God, he knows everyone in the town.
It's like, oh, was the other night to the dinner.
So does he make notes, or how does he know who's who and what?
Yes, we have our plan, on our
CRM
computer
system or something?
Exactly.
Oh, nice.
So Yes.
Do you guys send newsletters?
Yes, we do.
So let's go on the digital side, and then we can wrap this. What kind of digital marketing can you do and are you doing?
Yeah, so we have a manager, a person in charge only for this.
Online sales.
Yeah,
digital?
for the online sales. Of course, we use a lot the Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. So all this social media, which is really important right now.
Yeah.
You know, this is the future, and again, I'm not really into this. There's someone else who's taking care of it.
Understood. But do you know that, is there any particular wines that you think literally would do well online versus the physical store because of the label or the price?
Yeah, well, I think online is easier to sell the big name, so the famous producer, or I don't know, for example, for a champagne, it's easier to sell a Boulanger than a smaller grower that nobody knows. So in the shop you have more a physical contact, and it's easier to upsell something different.
Got it. So I think one last thing is, you've transitioned, which is a good thing. I think you're opening up from the sommelier and the restaurant side to the whole business side, retail, and then I'm sure there is the supplier side, there is an importer distributor side. What was your takeaway? What would you want to tell to the sommeliers? That if based on your experience, that in fact this is a good approach as well to open up. Because maybe hospitality has its own limitations, and there is just one route, like you become a sommelier, then a head sommelier, then a wine director, then a MS, and that's it, sort of thing, right? I don't know, maybe do you have any comparisons based on your experiences?
Well, it's a different world. Working with as I said, when I was sommelier, it was very easy for me to buy and sell. But when you pass on the other side, it become really hard to sell to restaurants and hotel from supplier.
Okay.
From being a supplier, because you need to find the right price, and there is so many suppliers, so it's quite tough. So you need to always give something extra to our client, to our sommelier. So that's why we do all this no minimum orders, same-day deliveries, and plus, because we are a small group, our communication between us, between accountant, between buying and retail is quite quickly. It's quite quick.
Pretty interesting model. So just for everyone to know, the model is you are yourself an importer. You also sell to some restaurants, and you have some stores as well.
Yes.
Got it. Can you break us down? Like what part of business is how big? Like import and distribution is bigger, or stores?
No, import and distribution is the bigger side. Yes, okay. Because you have no limits in in sales. So basically, you have all London, all UK, so you can extend and expand as much as you want. The shop, of course, we are here, and so it's located there, so it doesn't move. We actually, sales guy, we move around. So we bring firewood to the restaurant. So instead of bringing the customer.
Have you noticed any merchandising movements which can help drive sales, like, or windows? How do you display any tips there for the retailers?
No, I think you usually show the top sales. So, for example,
highest selling products.
Yes, exactly. For example, Malbec or Chianti or Champagne.
So you mean the category which are really popping up? You want to put it there first?
Yes, of course. During Christmas, for example, or Valentine's Day, we put rosé or champagne. So just for celebration, everyone will always buy more champagne than the rest of the categories.